Okay, so this is the seventh and last video in my series, The Future of Everything. And in the first video, I talked about copyright. In the second video, I talked about digital copyright. And then I got into a video about hardware and software on computers. And then I focused specifically on software as a contention. And then I focused on the computer itself. And then leading into this newest, latest, and final area, I think, of development synthesis, or if you will, synthetic reality, perhaps, and using that as an answer. Well, now I'd like to end off with a conclusion and summary, and that is that synthesis is a problem. That is synthesis as the problem here. So what finally comes of all of this, of everything, is that since copyright is ultimately about private control in the face of humanity, the control of video is broken into two areas. Video I voluntarily make as part of self-expression, which is a legitimate contribution to humanity in the form of art. And video I would make as part of a human system of control, a mandatory identity assignment scheme, which would likely be a part of some form or another of social order. As with most things in life, there is either the very public leading us into the private, or the very individualistic egging us on to the whole. Individuality versus the community square, in other words. So if we look at internet porn, for example, it takes us from a very public place to a very private space. On the other hand, if we look at computers themselves, like desktop computers, they direct us from what is very much an individual position. Computers are very much a computer to human individual interaction. But that directs us to one of almost blind communication with the rest of the human race, as we saw with the World Wide Web. The problem here is that synthesis, which again, to reiterate, essentially means to imitate, often some imitation of something that is real, carries an important connotation that is far too easily overlooked. We perceive one form, geometric figures, to be fake when it is the real part, and the other side of this, video, copy, to be real. And this is the problem when we distance ourselves from a dialogue with reality and entertain the idea that computers or networks are to be taken for granted. And so, in that sense, computers and the internet are thus, instead of a privilege, considered a right. Doing this, making this error in judgment, this mistake, which is really a grievous error in the end, we see objects that we perceive to be not real, like players in a video game, and we see objects in video as real, where in fact it is not a matter of synthesis, but a matter of reality wrongly defined by art alone. And then we ultimately define reality by these misperceived infinities in our technology. Everything is the opposite. Geometry the simpler the better, on the computer video net is real, and video is synthetic. This is the future of everything, 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 everything.